UFC 321, Tom Aspinall versus Ciryl Gane just ended, and this is going to be my full card UFC 321 post-fight. We are going to go through every single fight on the card, from the controversial eye poke main event where Tom Aspinall retains his heavyweight title via no contest, to the co-main event where you have Mackenzie Dern as the new women's strawweight champion, to the featured fight on the card where we have Umar Nurmagomedov beating Mario Bautista. We're going to break it all down this video. And I got to be honest, and maybe this is just me, this card was super disappointing. I mean, maybe it was just the main card was kind of a dud outside of the featured fight on the card. But man, Volkov, Almeida was dog doo-doo. I mean, Azamat put on a crazy performance, but we'll get to that. And then the prelims were okay, but I feel like, I don't know, UFC 321, maybe it was just the way the main event ended, but it felt super disappointing and unfulfilling, even though I get a bit of a victory lap in the main event, which we'll get to. Anyway, guys, if you enjoy UFC post-fight content, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications and like this video. Let's jump into it. First fight of the night. We have Jaqueline Amorim versus Mizuki. Mizuki wins via unanimous decision. I mean, Jaqueline Amorim just bummy as hell. Just bummy as hell. I don't even remember round by round, but basically Jaqueline Amorim completely gassed. I think first round she did okay, got a takedown. Was able to control her a little bit, but then Mizuki got back up. Honestly, I'm struggling. For some reason, this is the one fight on the card I'm just struggling to remember. Maybe it was because it was the first fight of the night. It's weird timing. But essentially, Amorim had nothing to offer. Second and third round, she was completely gassed out. Mizuki was walking her down, beating her up. Amorim was like dropping to the ground off body shots in the second and third, looking like she was going to be TKO'd. And Mizuki just went out there and walked her down and beat her up. After the first round, there was literally no resistance from Jaqueline Amorim. She's just, I guess, primarily just a BJJ fighter. I thought she had some striking. I thought she showed decent cardio when she got that third round TKO against Ruiz. But yeah, Mizuki beat her up, outstruck her, was able to defend off some of the takedowns after the first. And I believe even got a takedown or two of her own, or maybe it was just Jaqueline Amorim kind of pulling guard. But Mizuki wins via unanimous decision. Next fight on the card. We have Azat Maksum versus Mitch Raposo. This was a close fight. I thought it should have been a draw. I thought Azat Maksum won 2 rounds. And since the point deduction, I thought this fight would have been a draw. Should have been 28-28, right? Yeah, should have been 29-28. Point deduction, 28-28. Mitch Raposo got a unanimous 29-28 decision win. First round, and I don't think it was like the most brutal robbery ever, but first round, it was close. Azat, I thought, landed a little bit more, and then also got a takedown, a little bit of control, got a suplex. He got Raposo down. Raposo got back up, suplex, and then basically held him against the fence. And the ref was complaining. The refs were kind of weird tonight, and the commentary team was sucking off. So first round, I thought Azat won. Was close on the feet. Azat had some moments, landed like a nasty knee to the body, and then also got a couple takedowns. Second round, Mitch Raposo moving well, landing good shots, stuffing takedowns. There was one really horrible telegraph takedown from Azat where it was like a Call of Duty tactical slide. If anybody saw that, let me know. And then basically Azat tried to grapple, but he just couldn't hold Raposo down, and Raposo landed the better shots. And then the third round, so I had Mitch win in the second round. Third round, basically nothing happened. And in a grappling exchange towards the last minute, like Azat clearly won the third round. During a grappling exchange late, Raposo's like reversing the position. Maksum brutally grabs the fence to reverse the position. They stand him up and they immediately take a point, which I actually respect. I liked it. It was an egregious fence grab. It was an egregious breaking of the rules. I have no problem with an immediate point deduction. And then after this point, I'm like, okay, Azat won the round. With the point deduction now, that round's going to be 9-9, and then they each won a round in the beginning, so it's going to be a draw. But somehow they give it to Mitch Raposo. I don't think it was a brutal robbery. I guess, I don't know what the scorecards exactly were, but I guess you could give Raposo, I mean, what did they give him? I guess they gave him 2 and 3. I don't know. I guess the first round was still kind of close still, but yeah, it was just, I think it was a piss poor performance from Azat, and I think Raposo was just too hard to hold down. And then I thought Azat would have a decent advantage on the feet. It wasn't the case. Mitch Raposo was winning on the feet. So in most of the exchanges. So Mitch Raposo gets it done, unanimous decision. I didn't really think he won. Next fight on the card. We have Hamdy Abdelwahab versus Chris Barnett. I mean, this was pathetic. I don't want to hear anybody ever say I can't fight in the UFC again. Look at this. Look at it. Chris Barnett got dominated, got steamrolled, got ragdolled, was taken down over and over and over again. I'm trying to remember, what was the point deduction? It was back of the head shot. So Hamdy Abdelwahab immediately goes out, steamrolls him, takes him down, is beating him up. Mark Goddard's yelling, watch the back of the head when Hamdy isn't even coming close to the back of the head. Then there was a grazing elbow that landed for Hamdy. Chris Barnett's already beaten and battered, basically ready to quit. And so Goddard takes a point. But in the first round, there were three. There was not one, not two, but three egregious fence grabs from Chris Barnett that literally nobody cared about. Not the commentary team never mentioned it. They were like, you know, when there's fence grabs and then there's fence grabs. These were like Barnett grabbing into the fence and pulling them. And I hope that I'm remembering that correctly, because he grabbed the fence, I think, twice in the second round as well. So, I mean, it was crazy. The point deduction in the first round, I thought it was a 10-8 first round anyway, so it was a 9-8 first round for Hamdy. Second round, Barnett grabbed the fence again. Then there was actually a second one kind of, because he looped his arm. He looped his arm like this over top of the fence when he was getting picked up and taken down. Hamdy had him in a doggy style DDP Hamzat position, punching him out. Barnett was like trying to get up, eating shots underneath the armpit, and then his full ass was out. I mean, Barnett had his tits out, he had his ass out, his full ass was out, man. It was embarrassing. And he was getting tripped down. It looked like his knee blew out multiple times because of the way he was getting tripped down. And it was really just a pathetic performance with his full ass on display. And then the third round, Barnett decides to throw a wheel kick and then eats a right hand and then gets taken down and ragdolled again. Goddard randomly stood him up as Hamdy's on his back, beating him up in the third round. Like, it wasn't the most active shit, but it was a crazy stand-up. And basically, Hamdy Abdelwahab just ragdolled Chris Barnett the entire fight, and Chris Barnett's showing his ass, showing his tits. There's probably somebody out there thinking, damn, man, these are supposed to be the elite. Imagine this is your first fight ever you watch, and you're like, these are supposed to be elite-level fighters? It's really embarrassing. Hamdy's not particularly good. Chris Barnett's not good at all, shouldn't be in the UFC. It really shows the depth of the heavyweight division that Chris Barnett is still around. I would whoop Chris Barnett bad. I would whoop him bad. But anyway, Hamdy Abdelwahab gets the decision win. I think I might have even had 2 10-8s for him. But with the point deduction, I guess the one wasn't really a 10-8. Anyway, next fight on the card. Nathaniel Wood versus Jose Miguel Delgado. I looked away for a second. Nathaniel Wood, 29-28, unanimous decision win. What the fuck is going on here? I mean, Delgado almost finished him in the first round, was butchering him with landing good kicks, ends up landing at like a head kick and then missing a head kick, partially landing a head kick, spinning back fist, drops him, looks for the finish. Second round, there was a second. So first round, Delgado landed a grazing groin shot. Second round, something similar. It looked very, very clean in my opinion. I feel like guys are milking fouls now because they're seeing the point deduction, so we created another problem. But Wood landed some decent right hands, but was getting his legs kicked, and Delgado was landing more power shots, and Delgado clinched up with him, was landing better shots in the clinch, and landed some good body kicks. Wood started to grapple a little bit in this round, got one takedown, but Delgado got right back up. Clearly, Jose Delgado won the second round. And then third round, I thought Delgado was landing way more shots. Wood was walking forward like he knew like he had to get a finish, and Delgado grappled him, took him down for a little bit, and then Wood ended up on top. Or no, hold on, I'm trying to think. Who ended up... Yeah, Wood ended up reversing some of the grappling and like looked to get on Delgado's back, and then Delgado reversed and ended up on top. And then when they got up, Delgado landed a spinning back elbow. I thought Delgado took all 3 rounds. And somehow the fucking judges gave it to Nathaniel Wood. I thought this was a brutal robbery, one of the worst decisions I've seen in a while, and people acted like this was normal. Delgado clearly won this fight, did way more damage, busted up Nathaniel Wood, was out kicking him, was out striking him in general, and even out grappled him a bit. So bizarre, egregious decision, and it was unanimous with all 3 judges. So I don't know if Nathaniel Wood is Muslim, and the Abu Dhabi commission that flies over all like American referees and judges and they just gave it to him because he's Muslim, because they're in the Middle East, like some people imply about Muslim fighters, or maybe they're just fucking incompetent. Maybe that's the case. But yeah, Delgado should have got it. Wood, I don't even think Wood thought he won. I thought it was a joke when he kind of held up his hands. Like, it was kind of like, oh yeah, hell yeah. And I thought he was kind of messing around, and then he gets the decision. Very bizarre. Delgado, I think, is a real quality fighter, and I think he'll be back better than ever. And it almost got him out of there in the first round. So Wood gets a questionable decision win. Next fight on the card, Valter Walker versus Louie Sutherland. First round heel hook for Valter Walker. That's 2 in a row. And I know people are, Joey, what? That's 4 in a row, Joey. I've picked Valter Walker 2 times in a row, first round heel hook. It's 4 times in a row. I know, maybe it's not that good. But damn, these were good picks. Louie Sutherland came out throwing heat too. I thought he landed a big right hand right before he got taken down or pushed up against the fence and taken down. And there was a couple of heavy low kicks from Sutherland, but then Walker pushed him up against the fence, took him down. You could already see, like, if you watch my live stream, you can hear me calling it out. I could already see Valter Walker was like kind of lacing up the leg with his arm, ready to fall back. Louie tried to roll. Valter Walker just cinches up the heel hook and subs him easy. Minute and 24 seconds. 4th in a row. With this performance, he gets performance of the night. I think Valter Walker fumbled, man. He calls out Hamdy Abdelwahab. He says, Hamdy, the Egyptian, he thinks he can grapple because he took down Chocolate Peppa the Pig. Talking about Chris Barnett. Talking about Chris Barnett right here. But, like, why are you calling out Hamdy, bro? You guys shouldn't even be considered in the same universe. Like, what is going on here? Valter Walker should have called out someone ahead of him. He should have been saying, I want the main event. I'll rip Tom Aspinall's knee off like Curtis Blades. So I don't get it. Louie Sutherland was kind of bummed out, but what do you expect, man? Valter Walker, constantly looking for heel hooks. He's the heavyweight Rusama Palhares, who isn't a dirty fucking cheater. So I like Valter Walker. I literally think the heavyweight division is so shit that Valter Walker could become heavyweight champion. You heard it here first, boys. With a win over Louie Sutherland, okay? With a win over Louie Sutherland, I'm anointing Valter Walker championship material. Dude, who advised him on these tattoos? Someone tell me, like when they were brainstorming this, they were like, dude, that's fucking sick, bro. Get this fucking ugly blob on your stomach. But yeah, Valter Walker gets it done, first round heel hook. Anyway, next fight on the card. We have Ludovit Klein versus Mateusz Rebecki. Basically, Klein was just a cleaner striker for the first 2 rounds, out kickboxing him. Rebecki just kind of wading in with 2 big shots at a time, occasionally shooting a takedown, but Klein defending well. Klein clearly wins the first 2 rounds, and then Rebecki really starts to look for the takedown in the third against the kind of tired Klein. Gets the takedown, starts smashing him with elbows, destroying. And at one point, Klein's on his knees, kind of looking up at the clock. And I'm like, what's going on with Klein? Is something going on here? Rebecki eventually turns him over, starts smashing him with elbows. Blood everywhere because Klein threw a couple elbows off his back and busted up Rebecki, who was already pretty busted up. Started leaking even more. But then there was multiple times where I thought Rebecki was going to finish it in the last minute, and Klein was able to survive. And then we find out afterwards, and this has got to be kicking Rebecki. During the takedown, Klein broke his ankle. It was a horrible replay. It got twisted up badly, all his weight on it. It was clearly, 99% chance it's broken. Otherwise, there's a bunch of ligaments torn in that motherfucker. It was twisted all the wrong way. So had Rebecki just backed off and waved him up, he wouldn't have been able to continue. It would have been a third round TKO for Rebecki. That's why Klein stayed on the ground. That's why he absorbed as much damage as he did and never really tried to get up, because his takedown defense looked crisp. He looked good throughout the first and second, but then the third, it was like all of a sudden. Now, granted, he was getting tired, so I thought maybe he was gassed too. But I thought Rebecki took 10-8 third round. I thought he took 10-8 third round. So I thought this should have been a draw. I don't remember. I think it would have been a draw, but one judge gave Klein the second round 10-8. He stumbled him a couple times, but he never had him on the ropes badly or anything. So it's very bizarre to give a 10-8 second round. So I think this should have been a draw as well. So there's multiple fights on this card that I think should have been a draw that were not. But Ludovit Klein gets it done over Mateusz Rebecki. Next fight on the card, Ikram Aliskerov versus Young Park. Ikram gets the decision win. I'm trying to think what I'm going to say about this. Ikram really wasn't that impressive. I feel like he kind of saved the performance towards the end, but Park was rushing forward in the first round, landing good right hands. Ikram was able to take him down a couple times in the first round. There was one moment where the ref was complaining, grabbing the shorts, but I even watched the replay. It wasn't even a shorts grab, and it had nothing to do with the actual takedown. But first round was close on the feet, and then Ikram had the 2 takedowns. I scored it for Ikram. Second round, Ikram was pressuring, landing a couple good big shots on the feet, landed like a left hand, and then it was a head kick, and then a right hand. There was a grazing groin shot that landed on Park, but Park pretty much continued and then started pressing heavy on Ikram. And then got taken down and controlled a bit, gave up his back a little bit. Eventually, I think got back up from that position as well. And then towards the end of the second round, Park realizes Ikram's exhausted. Ikram's out-grappled him, outstruck him a bit, but Park's had his moments. But Park realizes, oh shit, he's getting tired. Starts pressing him late, but really doesn't find anything. And then the third round, like going in between, like as soon as second round ends, you're like, holy shit, is Ikram going to get finished in the third? That's how tired he looked. And third round, Ikram was completely exhausted. Park's just walking him down. At one point, Ikram squared up against the fence, literally feet sideways, right, standing right next to each other, and he's just throwing back. Park's throwing shots, but he doesn't really land anything. And then it's looking like Ikram might get finished. He's not really hurt, but he's exhausted. It's reminding me of Boost versus Strickland. And then Ikram gets a takedown, takes his back for a second, and then Jung Park is able to scramble up after maybe 30 seconds or so, and then goes on the attack again. Ikram lands a couple good shots, and then I think it was a knee to the body, and then got another takedown and immediately latched up the hooks on the back and a body triangle to seal the round and started looking for a rear naked choke. And once he got that back take, he could really rest there and look for a submission and do some ground and pound. And Ikram clearly won. So I had a 30-27 for Ikram Aliskerov, but super unimpressive performance. Jung Park needs to get his money fight. I demand a money fight for Jung Park. But yeah, Ikram, unimpressive performance. Cardio looked horrible. Striking didn't look particularly great. Grappling didn't look dominant. And even though it's a 30-27 win, I do think he saved the performance a little bit at the end there. You know, by digging deep, it looked like he was going to get finished. It looked like he was going to, you know, just fall over from exhaustion, and he was able to pull it. He was able to pull this out of the fire, son, Leon. You got to pull this out of the fire, Leon. That's basically what Ikram did in the third round, even though he wasn't losing. So Ikram gets it done. I think he asked for a top 15 afterwards. I don't know who you book him against. I really don't know who you book him against in the middleweight division right now. I don't even know if he deserves it off of that performance. But either way, he wins via unanimous decision. Next fight on the card, the featured prelim. We have Nasrat Haqparast versus Quinlan Salkild. I'm going to be honest, Quinlan looked like dog shit early. He was shooting ugly takedowns, getting stuffed. Nasrat landing good shots. And then boom, Salkild lands a picture-perfect head kick. Right over the top, boom, right to the top of the head. Slumps Nasrat out cold, face down. And he was out for minutes. I was actually scared that Nasrat died. That's how brutal this head kick KO was. And he was down for like 4 or 5 minutes. It was insanity. But, you know, you got to give Quinlan Salkild his credit. I mean, one hitter quitter, wasn't looking that great for him. Or like, if you like, I watched that first 2 minutes. I'm like, okay, Nasrat has this in the bag. Outside of getting brutally caught and finished. And Quinlan Salkild went out there and found that head kick, and it was nasty. I mean, it landed perfect, and Nasrat's lights were just shut off badly. So good win for Quinlan Salkild. There's not really a whole bunch to say. Other than Nasrat, there's a lot of like up-and-coming guys who will fight someone of somewhat name value, and then like everyone's hyping them up afterwards. Nasrat is a veteran who's been around for a while, who doesn't like have a lot of respect. Like people don't give him the credit he deserves for being as good as he is. And I think that's kind of a disservice to Salkild, because Salkild went out there and took Nasrat out. And I think that's actually a real quality win, has earned him maybe a top 15 opponent, in my opinion. I think Nasrat's kind of like the top 15 gatekeeper in a way. So good win from Quinlan Salkild. Nasty finish. Glad Nasrat is okay. Next fight on the card. Opening up the main card, we have Alexander Rakic versus Azamat Murzakanov. Rakic throwing heavy kicks early, landing some leg kicks, throwing some high kicks that are blocked as well. Shot 2 takedowns that he never really got close on. And then right power jab from Azamat. Slumps out Rakic, basically. I mean, it was It was I don't understand it. I really don't. Rakic is big for nothing. Azamat looks like a middleweight, a chubby middleweight. I knew I shouldn't have switched my pick on this one. Early, I had Azamat KO. But I thought Rakic, he's big, he's strong, he's well-rounded. He's fought Murder's Row. But in retrospect, I said this in my prediction video, I said, look, I may end up looking dumb as hell. Because you're picking a guy on a 3-fight losing streak versus a guy who's undefeated 15-0 and a nasty finisher. And Rakic is known for his low fight IQ. So I don't know if Rakic didn't respect his power or what, but he got folded with that jab. And I think Rakic is done. I think he's out of the UFC. It shows how bad light heavyweight is, actually. The higher the weight class, I feel like the shittier the divisions get. And Rakic at one point, a lot of people were anointing him as a future champ. I thought he was elite. I mean, how crazy is it? Competitive with Ankalaev, was whooping Yuri like a dog, was coming back against Jan in his prime, and now Azamat Murzakanov's chinning him with a power jab. I think Murzakanov called for a number one contender fight. I'm trying to think if he named anyone. Did he say Ulberg? Did he say Yuri? I think he just said number one contender fight, but I would love to see Murzakanov versus Ulberg or Yuri. I think the Yuri fight would be an absolute banger if you're giving Ulberg the next title shot. But honestly, I think Murzakanov might deserve a title shot more than Ulberg. Ulberg beat Reyes. At least Murzakanov beat Rakic. It's just crazy to me. Is Rakic's chin? How shit is everyone that beat Rakic now? How bad is Ankalaev? Couldn't finish Rakic. Murzakanov goes out there and chins him in the first round. I mean, that's crazy. Yuri was getting his ass whooped. Azamat never took any damage in this whole fight. So good win from Azamat. Crazy KO to start the card, or the main card. And then it just kind of goes downhill after that. But yeah, next fight on the card, we have Alexander Volkov versus Jailton Almeida. Bizarre fight. Alexander Volkov gets the split decision. I think it was kind of the right call, but at the same time, I don't know. Basically, Almeida came out, shot a takedown right away, got it with ease. Trying to set up a sub, really not doing much, and then eventually lets Volkov sweep him. And then Almeida's getting in the deep guard, getting elbowed into oblivion. You know, not like where he's about to get finished, but like puts himself in a dangerous spot for basically no reason and basically loses the round that way. Could have won that round. I think Almeida could have won this fight 30-27 with ease, but he has no fight IQ. I don't think there's anything behind these eyes right here. I think he's dumb as a box of rocks. So anyway, Volkov wins the first round. Second round, Almeida comes out, lands a big right hand. Boom, single leg, rags him down, gets one hook in, takes his back. Volkov eventually just gives up his back, rolls to his back, and gets mounted at one point. And then what's absolutely insane, so he's mounted at one point, and then I'm trying to make sure this is the second round or the third round. Yeah, he had him mounted. He had Volkov in full mount, didn't do any damage, gets kicked off, ends up in full guard, gets body triangle from the bottom. And this is all over a span of like 10 seconds, and then Goddard stands him up. And then I like that Almeida, even though I hated Almeida's performance and he should be embarrassed of himself, as soon as he stood him up, boom, Almeida shot another takedown. And then basically did a little bit of damage, didn't really throw much, and then Volkov kind of looked for a Kimura. I thought second round, clearly Almeida, because no damage was really done. Third round, they were in the clinch early. Volkov landed a couple knees. Then Almeida took him down. And then I think they got stood up again. And then there was two stand-ups from Goddard in this fight. And then Almeida shot and took him down again, but just sat there doing no damage. Volkov kind of throwing little pussy punches from his back. And like, honestly, Almeida threw like one or two shots, it felt like, the whole third round, and was on top 99% of the round. So it's a weird thing, because I guess you scored the third round for Volkov off like two knees in the clinch, where Almeida only had like one knee in the clinch. It was an embarrassing performance from Almeida. I desperately wanted Volkov to win, but this just shows how bad heavyweight is, man. No takedown defense from Volkov. Almeida, no fight IQ. It was like he wasn't even trying to get a finish. Even though I thought the stand-ups were kind of shitty timing, it was weird. Like, I think Almeida was on his back at one point and they stood him up. Like, it was crazy. But Volkov gets the win. But what does it really prove? I mean, he got taken down all 3 rounds in control, basically, and he was gassed. Volkov was completely gassed, like mid-second round. And Almeida must be dumb as a box of rocks. How are you on top? You basically don't really have much of a threat from Volkov, and you're not throwing any ground and pound at all in a very close fight, which you could have. I mean, if Almeida just threw little pussy punches from the top all fight, he wins this 30-27. But instead he doesn't really, I mean, he's fighting like he's in a fucking jiu-jitsu match. That's literally what it felt like. It felt like there was no strikes from Almeida. He wasn't allowed to throw strikes. And we've seen him do this before. He did it against Derek Lewis. It was an abomination. It really, truly was an abomination. And I don't ever want to see Almeida fight again. I really don't. I really don't. It was a really bummy performance. Cut him from the organization, an embarrassment. Volkov gets it done, but what did he really do? Did he win a fight? I didn't certainly see him win a fight. Anyway, next fight on the card, the featured fight on the card, Umar Nurmagomedov versus Mario Bautista. This is the best fight on the card, in my opinion. It wasn't close, but this was a very, very competitive fight. Umar essentially out-grappled Mario Bautista all 3 rounds. First round, Umar gets a takedown early. I think he caught a kick, shot it on a takedown. Mario's like scrambling. There's crazy scrambles. Mario ends up on a leg, basically looking for the Kurt Angle ankle lock submission. He's bending the ankle of Umar badly. Eventually, Umar scrambles out of it, takes his back, has the body triangle, looking for submission, doing a little bit of ground and pound, and wins the first round. Second round, Mario drops Umar with a knee. Initially live, it looked like Umar was hurt, and then on the replay, it kind of looked like he was off balance, and I don't think he was really ever hurt at all. But then Mario kind of went after him a bit, and then Umar was able to get a takedown, took his back. Mario was able to scramble out, get back up, hit a switch on Umar, but then Umar went right back to it, got a trip takedown, landed some shots on the feet, then got a trip takedown. And then Umar started to engage in the striking a little bit more. Mario was being aggressive, but Umar knew he could shoot the takedown, started landing on the feet, landed, I think, like a head kick in the second round. And then the third round, Umar just chain wrestled. When there was striking exchanges, landed some good shots on the feet. And then late, Umar had Mario down, had his back for a little bit. Mario was able to scramble out, get back to his feet, and then Umar kind of swung with him wild for the last 10 seconds. I mean, I thought all 3 rounds went to Umar, but I think Mario, I'm not personally doing this because I've been high on Mario for a long time. I think a lot of people might elevate Mario off this loss because he was hard to hold down. His striking looked really good. He had that moment in round 2. I don't think that won him the round considering he got dominated the rest of the round. Or not dominated, but controlled and beat up for the rest of the round. I think there's some people that might call this a boring performance. Oh, it's the Dagestani this and that. Umar did what he had to do. Mario is a very dangerous and a very good striker. I think Mario is the 3rd best guy in the division. And I think Umar has earned, you heard that, has earned another shot at Merab. Merab is fighting Petr Yan. Petr Yan's the most deserving. You look at the rest of the division, the only other person you can make a case for is Zahabi, who arguably just lost to Vera and hasn't beaten anyone that good. I mean, the Mario win's better than Zahabi's entire resume. So I know people are like, Umar, another title shot, blah, blah, blah. Dude, he dominated Corey Sandhagen and get the first title shot. Multiple contenders ducked him on the way to Corey Sandhagen. That's why he only fought Corey Sandhagen. He had to fight Bekzak Almahan, which doesn't get enough credit for that one either. Fights a razor close fight with the GOAT and reigning defending bantamweight champion Merab, and then goes out and fights basically the dark horse of the division in Mario Bautista and beats him, out-grapples him, out-strikes him, and puts on a really good performance. So I think it's the best fight to make if Merab does beat Petr Yan in the rematch in December. And I would love to see it. So Umar gets a good win over Mario Bautista. I think the UFC doesn't really like Bautista. They definitely like Umar. And they matched this up because they wanted to see somebody beat up Mario. Not literally beat him up, but they just didn't want Mario. They're not looking at Mario as like a future contender. It's crazy because imagine if Mario with the same skill set was Sean O'Malley, like his purple hair and his tattoos, he has some tattoos, they'd be hyping up Mario Bautista. He would have had a title shot. So it sucks for Mario. I think Mario deserved a title shot more than Corey Sandhagen, but it is what it is. He loses to Umar. I think he'll come back stronger, and I still think he has a great future in the bantamweight division because Merab isn't going to be around forever. So good win from Umar Nurmagomedov. I think he leveled up his grappling. He's primarily a kickboxer. People don't realize that. The grappling looked unbelievable in this fight, and he gets it done over Mario Bautista. Next fight on the card. Virna Jandiroba versus Mackenzie Dern. Mackenzie Dern wins via unanimous decision. I'm not going to break down this fight a whole lot because I know nobody cares about this fight. And personally, I couldn't care less about this fight, I don't think. Basically, first round, Dern landed some good shots, but then got taken down and was brutally grabbing the gloves. I thought Dern won the first round. After that, I thought you could have gave Virna every single round. I'm not saying for sure. There was close rounds, like round 4 was razor close, could have went either way. But I thought round 5, I thought it's probably 2-2 going into round 5. And Virna fumbled it, man. She would take Dern down, and then Dern would just throw shots off the bottom, like kind of flailing shots, and Virna would just kind of back out because she was tired and didn't want to throw anything herself. And so basically Dern won throwing shots off her back with Virna in her guard. Dern cheated, grabbed the gloves multiple times, 2 illegal up kicks, and the commentary team sucked Dern off the entire time, acting like she put on a masterclass. So I know everyone's going to think Dern won. I don't think it was a robbery by any means. It was a close fight. But, I mean, it was just Virna out grappling her, out wrestling her, and then Dern throwing off the bottom. And then on the feet, it was close on the feet, in my opinion. Virna started touching her up the longer the fight went on. But I think Dern had a better gas tank. They both got busted up. Both had nasty black eyes. Mackenzie Dern gets it done. Is she really the best in the division? I don't know. I mean, she has losses to Andrade. Who else does she have losses to off top? I was going to say off the top of my head, but I mean, Dern's 2-2. She has losses to Andrade, Lemos. She has, Andrade, Lemos, Marina Rodriguez, Yan Xiaonan. I know the UFC wanted Dern to win. They're like, oh, she's got a fat ass, Mackenzie Dern. We're going to promote her asshole. But if she actually fights decent opposition, she's not going to be the champion for a long time. So she gets it done. The UFC's happy. They got their girl with the fat ass they can promote. And, yeah, I mean, I don't think it was robbery, but I don't think it was a great performance by any means from Mackenzie Dern. She's your new strawweight champion. Next fight on the card, the main event. We have Tom Aspinall versus Ciryl Gane. If you guys could, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and like the video. It takes 1 second. I would greatly appreciate it. I want you guys to look at something real quick. I want you to read this right here. Could not continue. Tom Aspinall kind of quit. I mean, it's just the reality of it. He got eye poked. He could not continue. It's a no contest. Tom Aspinall is still your heavyweight champion, undisputed heavyweight champion. The most disputed title in the history of the sport. John Jones disputes it. Francis Ngannou disputes it. And now Ciryl Gane disputes it as well. I've already done like a 20-minute breakdown of the main event that a lot of people aren't happy with. I know that. I know not dick riding popular opinion really pisses off a lot of the MMA community. But before we even talk about the eye poke, let's just talk about what happened before the eye poke. Ciryl Gane busted up Tom Aspinall's nose in the first 30 seconds with a nasty left hook. Then after that, Ciryl Gane pumped some jabs, landed some good oblique kicks, and Tom Aspinall waded in looking for big shots that he didn't really find. Maybe landed a right hand, but Gane was on the end of it, circling out. And then Aspinall landed a couple heavy low kicks. I remember at one point, Gane switched stance. Aspinall chopped the leg. Gane switched back. Aspinall wasn't tracking him down. Aspinall shot in on one takedown. It was easily stuffed by Gane. And Gane was starting to touch him up on the feet. And I believe, we're 4 minutes and 35 seconds into the first round. In my opinion, I had seen enough. I know it sounds crazy. I know people are going to say I'm biased. I really had seen enough because Tom Aspinall is the best in the first round. He hasn't been out of a first round since 2021, okay? That's how long since it's been since Tom Aspinall's been out of a first round. And Tom Aspinall is getting busted up in the first round. 2 minutes and 42 seconds left on the clock in the first round. He's looking up at the clock. His nose is gushing blood. He's breathing out of his mouth, and he's punching at air against Ciryl Gane. So before the eye poke even happens, I believe that I saw enough that Ciryl Gane wins this fight. I know people make comparisons. Bilal Muhammad, Leon Edwards. We'll talk about that in this video as well. But Ciryl Gane throws a head kick. He kind of pushes off, and he pokes Tom Aspinall in both eyes. Tom Aspinall takes a break. He immediately, within like 30 seconds, 1 minute, he's like, I can't see. He's telling the ref, I can't see. The ref's like, shut the fuck up. Herzog's like, shut up. Do not say that. We're going to give you some time. Just shut your mouth. Tom Aspinall proceeds to say, I can't see. Even at one point, Herzog pulls the doctor away and said, look, I don't want to ask him any questions right now because I don't want to lead him down a certain path. I want to give him time. Eventually, Tom Aspinall takes the 5 minutes. He says he still can't continue. They call off the fight. It's a no contest. Tom Aspinall verbally taps. He cannot continue. You can see it right here. Cannot continue. But it's a no contest. Now, I will say, I think it's a little bit unfair to just straight up say Tom Aspinall is a quitter. But I do believe Tom Aspinall is a smart guy. He took everything into account. He says, I'm breathing heavy. We're not even out of the first round. I'm busted up. I'm bleeding out of my nose. I can't breathe out of my nose. And now I got poked in the eye. I'm at more of a disadvantage now. I'm probably going to lose, or I can take the no contest and fight on, live to fight another day. And I think that's what Tom Aspinall decided to do. I really think that's what Tom Aspinall decided to do. He took all factors into account, and he decided not to continue. Now, I will say this. I don't think it would have. I don't think Aspinall, if he never gets eye poked, I don't think he wins anyway. I mean, I saw all I needed to see. It's his best round, and he's getting butchered on the feet. When's he's coming back in the second round? Tom Aspinall was massively overrated, and to top it all off, the eye that he's grabbing is his. I don't want to get it mixed up now. Let me pull something up real quick. I believe the eye that he's grabbing is his right eye, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just pull up this picture real quick. Yeah, the eye that he's grabbing is his right eye. The worst of the eye poke was the left eye, and both of his eyes were shut when he got poked. And the right eye was actually like a grazing shot rather than the left eye was actually like a deep eye gouge, knuckle deep. The other one was kind of a swiping and then a push off. Like there was a second effort, which I think maybe is what did it. But Gane was touching him up prior to that. And I do believe, again, forget about that eye poke for a second. I think Gane was going to win this fight. I'm very confident Gane was going to win this fight. I told you guys, going in this fight, Gane was being massively underestimated. Tom Aspinall was being massively overrated. Tom Aspinall was elevated off of the fact that Jon Jones did not want to fight him because he thought the risk versus reward was not good enough. And we saw that tonight. I really do believe we saw that tonight. And I feel bad for Aspinall. This was worst case scenario. This really was worst case scenario for Aspinall because he sat out for 14 months. He got fucked by the UFC. He got fucked by Jones. And now he comes back against Ciryl Gane, gets beat up for a round, and then gets eye poked and then can't continue. So now he looks like a quitter. I think this was the worst case scenario for Tom Aspinall. The aura is gone. I tweeted out earlier tonight. Tom Aspinall has zero aura, sells no pay-per-views, has no personality, no Instagram followers. He fights once every 14 months, ducks top contenders, and wants to leave for boxing. He got outclassed by Gane and quit in the corner. Aspinall is a disaster for the division. And while that's satirical, a lot of that is true. Boys. So I kind of feel bad for Aspinall, but this is what happens when you elevate a guy. For the people shocked that Gane was outstriking him, this is what happens when you elevate a guy simply because you hate Jon Jones and you wanted to see Jon Jones lose. It's no different. When Jon Jones was going in the Ciryl Gane fight, they were like, oh, Ciryl Gane's going to school him. Too big, too strong. And then it was Pavlovich. And then it went to Aspinall. Heavyweight sucks. Tom Aspinall is one of the best heavyweights in the world. But stop acting like he's some GOAT, God type figure in the weight class. It's just simply not true. Gane will school him in a rematch. Gane was schooling him in this fight. And Tom Aspinall couldn't continue after an eye poke. And I know there's been some people. Matter of fact, let me pull this up while I have Twitter up. There's some people saying this. This is one of Ariel Helwani's backdoor boys. The takes about the first round of Tom Aspinall versus Ciryl Gane are getting wild. Reminds me of Leon Edwards versus Belal Muhammad and the tales being spun about it being a foregone conclusion of who was going to win before the eye poke stopped it. What's crazy about this is simply apples to oranges, okay? And people have tried to call me out in the comments of my main event breakdown. Tom Aspinall's first round is his best round. He's not known for his cardio because he never gets out of the first round. So he's getting busted up in his best round against a guy who we know can go 5 rounds and then gets eye poked and quits. That has nothing to do with Belal Muhammad eating one head kick and getting eye poked in the first round of a short notice fight. Because I think a lot of people are acting like what they're trying to do is a disingenuous comparison saying, well, Belal got eye poked and then Belal won the rematch years later. That's essentially what they're doing. It just doesn't make sense. Belal was short notice in a 50-50 round outside of that head kick, which I broke down forever. Belal's known for his cardio. Tom Aspinall's not known for his cardio. He's known for his first round. So it just makes no sense. And then Belal came back years later and dominated Leon Edwards, which I saw coming a mile away. It was years later, and it wasn't on short notice, and Belal had amassed a resume at that point. So people are acting like, well, Belal got eye poked, and people act like Leon was definitely going to win, which was wrong and unfair, but it's not the same scenario at all. It's not even the same fight, and people still assume that Leon would have won, and then Belal came back years later, 2-3 years later, and whooped up on Leon and dunked him on his bald spot. That's much different than Aspinall getting schooled for the first round, which is his best round. It was only going downhill from there. getting eye poked, quitting, and then potentially having a rematch in a couple months. So I just want to debunk that entire comparison before it gets going. But Ciryl Gane, I hate to say it, guys. I hate to say I told you so. Ciryl Gane is your uncrowned UFC heavyweight champion right now. Right now. And John Jones already tweeted out saying, Alex Pereira, see you at the White House. Something along those lines. That's not a direct quote, but basically calling out Pereira for the White House. That is the fight that the UFC is probably going to make. Tom is getting fucked heavily. I feel bad for him. His entire title reign is just rained on now. It really is. People overhyped him. He is a victim of people overhyping him. That's what he's a victim of. Because he would never live up to the expectations. People were acting like fucking Michael Bisping was calling him Muhammad Ali. What a joke. He could never possibly live up to those expectations. And now that he damn near loses to Gane, gets saved, basically a gift from Gane eye poking him, he gets an out. But I don't think he wins a rematch. I'm picking Ciryl Gane definitely in a rematch. So very weird finish, anticlimactic finish. But Tom Aspinall, I think he took everything that he had available to him and said, you know what, I'm not going to continue. Maybe he has a detached retina. Maybe we'll hear that afterwards. I don't know. But either way, detached retina or not, he was getting schooled before that. He would have got schooled after that, and Ciryl Gane would have won. I have no doubt about that. And I think the UFC is going to book Jones versus Pereira next, and it just diminishes the entire heavyweight division. And I kind of do feel, as much as people like to say I'm a hater of Tom Aspinall, it's not really that. It's just I hate dumbass, illogical narratives, and so I have to debunk them, and then sometimes it just fires me up and people make me out to be a hater that I'm not. I feel bad for Aspinall after this. I really do. And if he's injured, I hope his eye's healthy. I hope he's fine. I would love to see him run it back. Maybe he gets a first-round KO, first-minute KO. Maybe he does. I'm not so sure on that. I wouldn't be too sure on that because Gane looked dialed in, other than forgetting his cup on the way to the cage. Last thing I want to talk about before we wrap this up, boys. I told you guys, man, I'm nasty on picks. I told you guys, the dogs are barking. Look at this pick ratio. Let's see if I can get it to show up on screen. I don't know who that is. Look at this pick ratio. Oh my, this is my worst night of picks I've ever done in the history of the sport. I'm not kidding. Since I started this channel, this is my worst night of picks ever. 4 out of 13. Now, to be fair, I thought Maksum was a draw. Delgado got robbed. Rebecki was a draw. But yeah, Almeida could have won. So to be fair, it is what it is. But I wanted to highlight that because that was really a god-awful night of picks. Overall, UFC 321 felt really disappointing. It really just didn't feel like a pay-per-view. It felt like a fight night. And the main event was super anticlimactic with basically Ciryl Gane winning but not actually winning, and Tom Aspinall holding onto the belt and bitching at the crowd for booing him. I know I've seen a lot of people saying beta male soy boy Tom Aspinall getting butchered by Ciryl Gane. Ciryl Gane's an elite level kickboxer. People forget that. And Tom Aspinall throws with his chin up in the air. I mean, I showed this picture in my dedicated post-fight, but let's see if I can get it on screen here. I don't know if this is going to line up properly. Look at this. Chin up in the air. And by the way, look at these other pictures too. Getting touched. He was bloodied and battered. But that pretty much wraps this up, guys. Like the stream. Subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.